The dim hum of the space station filled the small quarters as Cale adjusted the sensors on his console. It was supposed to be a routine night shift, monitoring the outskirts of the Nibiru system, but nothing about this assignment had ever felt routine. The Nibiru system was home to the Saurian Empire, a civilization known across several star clusters for its rigid hierarchy and unmatched technological prowess. Cale had learned to respect and fear their rules. He had not expected the Queen's daughter to appear in his room. At least, not tonight, and certainly not unannounced. A subtle shift in the air caught his attention before he saw her. The door hissed softly, a sound he had long associated with the security protocols of the station. Yet tonight, it had a deliberate quietness. Cale looked up, and the figure in the doorway seemed almost unreal. She was slight but poised, her presence radiating authority, even in the muted shadows. Her skin shimmered faintly under the light, a soft glow that betrayed her noble Saurian heritage. Her hair fell in dark, sleek waves, framing sharp eyes that seemed to measure everything at once. "Don't shout," she whispered. Her voice was calm, but there was an urgency beneath it that made Cale sit straighter. I wasn't." Cale began, but she raised a hand. "Just listen." She stepped inside, careful, almost as if the floor itself might betray her. "No one can know you're here." "Not yet." Cale nodded, though the situation made little sense. The Queen's daughter, a figure he had only seen from the distant observation decks during Imperial gatherings, was now in his room. The implications of that were dangerous. "I don't understand," he said, leaning back, trying to keep his voice steady. "Why would you come here?" She paused, glancing at the window where the Nibiru stars blinked faintly, distant and cold. "Because they are watching. They have eyes everywhere, and soon. They will act. I cannot let them find you unprepared." Cale frowned. "You mean my mission?" "Yes," she said simply, sitting on the edge of his bed. It was a casual gesture, but Cale could sense the tension in her posture, the careful grace with which she moved. "They underestimate you, human." But they should not. Cale felt a chill run down his spine. The Saurians had always seen humans as inferior, fragile creatures with limited perception of the universe. Yet here she was, acknowledging something different in him, a strength that even the Queen might not see. "Why trust me?" Cale asked, unsure if he wanted the answer. Her eyes softened, but only for a moment. "Because you have survived when many would not. Because you act when others hesitate. And because I see something in you they cannot touch." The statement was vague, yet charged with meaning. Cale's mind raced. The Empire had plans for him, certainly, as it did for all humans who ventured near Saurian space. Some would be used, some would be tested, and most would disappear. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that seemed to press against his consciousness. "You are not safe here. Not tonight, not ever, if they discover what you carry. There is a key, something hidden in the archives of the old station. You must retrieve it." Cale blinked. "A key? Archives? What is it?" "It is knowledge," she said, and the word held weight beyond its simplicity. Knowledge that could shift the balance. The Queen would never allow it to leave her grasp willingly. But with it, humans might finally stand not just as pawns, but as equals. Cale's stomach tightened. This was far beyond anything he had trained for. He had been prepared for reconnaissance, for analysis, even for conflict. But espionage against a civilization that could vaporize entire fleets with a thought? That required a courage he wasn't sure he had. "You will need my help," she continued, her gaze intense. "And I cannot stay long. They will suspect if I linger. But I can guide you, quietly, until you are ready to act." He nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I'll follow your instructions. Just tell me what to do first." Her eyes darted toward the door. "First, you must leave this room. Take nothing, leave no trace. The corridors are monitored, but there is a path they overlook, a shadowed route used only during maintenance cycles." She handed him a small device, no larger than his palm, and it hummed faintly. "This will signal me when you are outside the perimeter. I cannot meet you there, but I will guide you remotely." Cale took it, weighing the simplicity of the device against the enormity of the task it represented. He had no doubt that the path she described would be perilous. The Saurian Empire's security measures were legendary, and every step outside a controlled area could mean death. "Remember," she said, standing and smoothing the edge of her robe, "patience is as powerful as speed. Move too fast, and they will detect you. Move too slow, and you will lose the window entirely. Trust yourself, and trust me." Before Cale could ask more, she slipped toward the door. Her movement was fluid, silent, almost like a shadow bending to her will. Then, as suddenly as she had arrived, she was gone. Cale waited a moment, heart pounding. The room felt emptier, colder, yet charged with an energy that made him feel alive in a way he had never known. He checked his console once more, then carefully secured the door and moved into the narrow corridor outside. The shadows here were deep, carved by years of neglect and selective lighting. Cale had memorized these hallways during previous surveys, but now he saw them differently, as arteries of opportunity rather than mundane passages. The device in his hand pulsed, a soft light guiding him. He followed its rhythm, each step measured, careful. He knew that a single misstep could trigger sensors, alarms, and the attention of patrol drones that never slept. Hours of what felt like hours passed in tense silence. The Saurian station was vast, labyrinthine, yet Cale navigated it with surprising skill, guided by the faint pulses from the device and the memory of the princess's directions. Every corner he turned, every shadow he moved through, reminded him of the stakes. The Queen would not tolerate failure. Finally, he arrived at the archives. The entrance was sealed, a massive doorway embedded with layers of biometric locks and security protocols. Cale crouched, examining the panel. This was where the princess's instructions became crucial. He had no way to hack the system himself, yet her guidance came through the device, whispered through frequencies only it could detect. "Focus," her voice instructed. "There is a sequence, a rhythm to the locks. They are built to respond to patterns of thought and touch. Calm your mind and let your instincts lead your fingers." Cale obeyed, and to his astonishment, the locks yielded. The door hissed open, revealing the archives within, endless rows of data cores, each one containing centuries of Saurian knowledge. The air smelled of ozone and cold metal, and the soft hum of energy filled the space with a strange serenity. He moved quickly, guided by her voice. "Look for the core marked with the symbol of the twin stars," she instructed. "It is the one the Queen fears most. Within it is the knowledge you seek." Cale found it, a sleek black cylinder etched with a delicate pattern of luminous lines. He lifted it carefully, feeling the weight of both history and potential in his hands. The device pulsed in response to his touch, and Cale realized that the Saurians had embedded more than information. They had embedded a kind of life, an intelligence waiting to be awakened. "Now leave," the princess's voice said urgently, "before they notice." Retracing his steps was more dangerous than before. Patrol drones had shifted patterns, security sensors were active, and every corner carried the potential for discovery. Cale moved like a shadow, slipping past sensors, avoiding patrols, and relying on the princess's subtle guidance to navigate the station's complex interior. Finally, he reached the perimeter. A narrow maintenance shaft led to an exterior airlock. He activated the device once more, and a small panel opened, revealing a pathway outside the station. Cale climbed, his breath ragged, heart hammering, and emerged into the cold vacuum of space. The stars stretched endlessly around him, distant, indifferent witnesses to his flight. And there she was, waiting not in person, but projected through the device, her form appearing as a luminous image against the stars. "You did it," she said softly, awe and relief mingled in her tone. "Few humans could have navigated that path. Few could have survived the pressure of the station systems without faltering. You are remarkable." Cale exhaled, letting the tension drain from his body. "I couldn't have done it without you," he admitted. "Your guidance. It made the impossible seem possible." She tilted her head, a faint smile curving her lips. "Perhaps humans are not as fragile as the Saurians believe. You are a testament to that." He felt a strange warmth, a sense of connection that transcended species, rank, or politics. In this moment, he realized that the Saurian Empire's greatest underestimation was not his skill, nor even his courage, but his humanity. It was that spark, that capacity to endure and to act in the face of fear, that made him valuable in ways the Queen could never comprehend. The projection faded, leaving Cale floating in the endless darkness of space. He held the data core close, aware of the magnitude of what he now possessed. Knowledge that could change the balance between civilizations. Knowledge that could allow humans to stand not just as pawns, but as equals. And somewhere, in the depths of the Nibiru system, the Queen's daughter watched. Silent, vigilant, yet confident that a human could rise to meet a challenge no Saurian had dared face. Cale activated his ship's thrusters and began the journey hull.